This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
Hello, Planeteers. I'm Peter Stewart. Podcast Pete. How about that? Someone called me that in the week. They also called me Mr. Reigate. So thank you, Daddy, for that idea. That was really good. Thank you. Very, very kind. Yeah, hello, Planeteers. This is the podcast exclusively and uniquely and proudly, no less, for Reigate and Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. And this is episode 29 for Saturday the 30th of March. Don't forget, please subscribe so you don't miss a show, because this is the show where we reflect and celebrate our love of life around here.
This week on the Planet Reigate podcast,
our guests, why Dan is the man with the plan to help you and your business survive and thrive with his RHNetworking support group, and Alix set up Include.org. She'll be joining us to explain why and how it's developed over the years to provide community projects, training and consultancy, combining music, creativity and fun to teach people better ways of including and involving people with understanding or speaking difficulties. In the Good Time Guide, an Easter scrambled egg event and an unusual supper club. The Earlswood Farmers Market is back and how they need your help. Various Easter egg hunts and also a sponsored walk by a bumblebee. And various holiday events for children, including a Disney mashup, a theatre school, Nerf gun sessions, sports, crafts and games, holiday football camp, aerial arts workshop, aqua sports at Mercer's, learning how to play squash, and a photography adventure as well. Plus a short walk in Brockham, Alice in Wonderland at a local gallery, a letter writing group, a stroll through Salfords, a quiz night in Reigate, a spring market, and Easter activities at the Belfry too. Plus, in the news this week, money is being spent on areas which are prone to flooding locally. An old care home in Reigate could be turned into a school. A local pizza restaurant is closing down. A new cafe opens in Priory Park, and a new restaurant on Reigate High Street opens its doors. And a new cafe is coming to the Belfry. New information signs at Gatton Park, details of how you can enter Earlswood's Best Front Garden Awards, and a scarecrow competition starting up locally as well. And do you know Deborah Collier, or someone in America is trying to trace her? In sport, we feature local schools, Dunnottar and Carrington, a milestone for Reigate Priory Park run, appeals for new players for South Nutfield Cricket Club, and what is called the Best Laughter Club in Redhill. If you fancy playing a variety of sports, we have the details. And also news of a local charity golf day as well. Our stars are from Redhill and Horley, and also we got treasure from the Children's Trust. It's a pair of cowboy boots.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
Yeah, yee-haw for those cowboy boots. Let's do something special and creative about those. You'll hear about the cowboy boots a little bit later on in the show. Did I say Salfords or did I say Salfords just then? You know what? I think what I often try and do with Salfords is actually change the pronunciation, whether which way. So sometimes say it one way, sometimes say it another. Because what I've noticed is, after living and working in and around the area for years and years, is that people say it different ways. And I wonder what your way of saying Salfords is. And whether or not it links in with that other place, up north, up there. Don't make me say Manchester, because if I say Manchester, the dragons come. From our post bag this week. Hi Peter, I've been an avid listener of your podcast since it started. The Good Time Guide has been great with suggesting all the things to do in the area. I've joined the Rewind Wind Band and been to events at Mercer's Lake, the Garibaldi, and with the Girl Who Gardens. Yeah, all great friends of the show. Due to be speaking to Mercer's Lake very, very soon. We've promoted the Garibaldi loads of times with their forces fry-up and so on, and also they're going to be mentioned a bit later on in today's show. The Girl Who Gardens, Renee, was one of our guests in one of our very first episodes, and again, we're working with Renee. for something else. In fact, a couple of other things over the course of the rest of the year. And Maria was one of our guests with the Rewind Wind Band. If you didn't catch that episode, the Rewind Wind Band, it's a bit of a mouthful, is for people who are returning to play their musical instruments, to play in an orchestra after taking time out. So maybe you played as a child or at university, and then other things happen like jobs and other halves and families, and you were more keen on getting your kid to play the recorder or the flute or the drums or whatever it happens to be, and you put your instrument playing to one side. Well, if that was you, the Rewind Wind Band is something that you may be interested in. So check back our episodes to be able to listen to that. So thank you very much indeed to the person that wrote to me, who also went on to say, I've noticed you like to keep things evolving with changes in the regular features that came in 2024. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we think to ourselves, well, you know, that's run for a few months. Let's rest that. We'll bring it back in a few months' time. And other times we use some of the features just to kind of balance things out so that the overall tone and sound of the show sounds kind of balanced in various ways, featuring different kinds of people, different kinds of stories from right across the area of Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. RH1, 2 and 3. Keep up the good work. Keep evolving. Best regards. Thank you very much indeed. Kira and Felix. Hello, guys. Now, I met them at the top of Reigate Hill in the week. I was doing some recording for next week's show. They asked me what I was doing. We had a little chat about the podcast, gave them a leaflet. And funny moment, because Kira said, she said, this sounds a really, really good idea, podcast for the area. She said, there's so much going on here. She said, so much that I don't know. And she said, the other week, we were walking across from the Junction 8 Cafe over to Collie Hill, and we saw that information board. I don't know whether you know about this, the information board about that plane that crashed on Reigate Hill in World War II. I had a little read about that. We didn't know much about it. Actually, it crashed on the date of my dad's birthday. So we had a little comment about that and had a little laugh about that. And then we moved on. I said, yeah, I do know about it because we've just finished a 3-part feature on the show recently. Oh, wow, she said. Fantastic. So lovely moment, lovely people. Hi to Kira and Felix. And thank you all so much as well. If you like our posts on social media, we love you to do that, but we love it even more when you share our content to your followers. So if you're going to like it, then why don't you go to love it instead and share it to your followers on your platform, and that really would mean the world to us. Finally, in this section, as you know, the Planet Reigate podcast is free. But if you'd like to support us, then you can do that really quickly, really easily. You can buy me a coffee. It'd be great if you met me out and about and you said, I'll buy you a coffee. And I had a couple of people do that for me this week when I was out and about recording. So thank you very much indeed to them. Or if you don't think you're going to come across me, you can go to buymeacoffee.com. Yeah, normal spelling, buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast. And you can send me the cost of a coffee to help me continue. That's what James and Jonathan have done. So to them, I thank them for their support there and elsewhere for the Planet Reigate podcast. Again, buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast, where we like to keep you abreast with all sorts of things that are happening right across the area. Bank holiday weekend, of course. We've got the break for the kids, so you may want to have an idea of something to do with them over the bank holiday weekend, bank holiday Monday, and while they're off school as well, pack them off too, or do something with them. We've got it all together. We've got it all sorted for you. It is the area's best events guide. We call it the Good Time Guide.
The Good Time Guide. Things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
Okay, eyes down for a full house. Saturday the 30th, Buckland Park Lake. They've got an Easter scramble. Enjoy their egg scramble trail. Collect your sheet from the ticket office and go off in search of 12 eggs hidden around the park. And each egg has a letter and a number, and you tally up the numbers and solve the seasonal anagram before heading off to the Reverie to see if you're right and collect your prize, running from Friday the 29th through till Sunday the 14th of April. The Nocturne Supper Club is celebrating the life and work of Dvorak by way of a curated themed dinner party open to the public at Brockham Village Hall Saturday at 7 o'clock. So the chef is going to be conjuring up a feast appropriate to Dvorak, who was Czech, so think of the kind of Czech cuisine that might be on offer there. The wines are going to be from the Czech Republic as well. There's going to be live music, Slavonic dances and more, and the cost is £50 a person. Details nocturnesupperclub.com. Sunday the 31st of March, the Earlswood Farmers Market is back again. It's a small market that supports local growers, makers and producers of food, 10 till 2 at the Marquis of Granby pub in Earlswood. And also I can tell you that Eco Earlswood, who are kind of organising that, get involved with that, they say the surplus fruit and veg stall needs your help. They're now accepting any surplus seasonal fruit and veg to be sold on a pay what you can afford scheme. All the profits go towards the Earlswood Kitchen Garden project. That sounds something we need to be talking about more on the show, doesn't it? Ideally drop off 10 a.m. on market day, or drop me a note, says Eco Earlswood, Rachel over there, and I can collect. So if you want some more details on that, then get in touch with me and I'll pass your details on to them, or pass you their details.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
An Easter egg hunt is back at Priory Park on the 31st at 10 a.m. So if you want to get involved with that, it's 10 till 2, £2 suggested donation. So the details there, and you might want to get involved. And you're invited to another Easter egg hunt on Sunday the 31st from 12 o'clock, plus lots of arts and crafts activities, £4 a child. The venue is The Venue in Merstham. That's all sorts of things to do and places to go this weekend, and we're back a little bit later on in the show with more from Monday, the Good Time Guide on the Planet Reigate podcast.
From Reigate and Redhill, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. Great stories from places you love and people you know. This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
Still to come, the man who's trying to help local businesses one contact at a time, and Alix from the locally based group Include.org, creating a world where no one is excluded because of communication disabilities. And before we go, at the end of the show, a natural sound from a place you know. Our 60-second soundscape this week is from Betchworth. And we've got so much more in our archive shows as well. For example, last summer, we caught up with members of the Surrey Vintage Vehicle Society in Reigate Tunnel. Hear our conversation with some of them about their pride and joys in episode 5 of the show. And for episode 6, went to Buckland Park Lake, talked to Natasha. She runs yoga classes there, and spoke with her about the ethos of her Yoga Shala group. You'll be able to find those episodes on our page on your favourite podcast app.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
And you know what? It can be quite isolating running your own small business, can't it? You've got to do so much from selling to attracting clients to sell to, and as well as the paperwork and the taxes, and suddenly you've got to be an expert in HR and building maintenance and so on and such like and so forth. Dan Reynolds is my guest, and Dan's plan was to help ease some of that burden by setting up a way to make it easy to connect with other people in a similar position, so you can share, the frustrations and also the hacks and each other's expertise. Dan set up RHNetworking, of which I'm a member, and last week he asked me to host what turned out to be a really great speed networking event at Hartsfield Manor near Betchworth, an evening of conversation and collaboration, contacts and possibly contracts as well.
RHNetworking is business-to-business networking for the RH postcode area. We don't discriminate, actually, so if you're on the outside of RH, we very much welcome you along to one of our events and get to meet other local business owners and business leaders. So even if you work for an organisation but you're a manager or a supervisor and you want to meet other businesses, you're welcome along. But some of our members, who have we got? We've got a photographer, we've got a cake maker, a financial advisor, PR consultant, HR consultant, locksmith, graphic designers, web designers, IT people. There's just so many great local business owners that like to come together and talk
Well, you say talk business, but actually that could sound a little bit heavy, it could sound a little bit involved, but a lot of it is just getting to know other people and putting a face to the name and being able to say, maybe in a few weeks or a few months' time, I know someone that can help me with that, or I know somebody who can help you with that. It's joining up, isn't it? It's making connections.
Absolutely. And I think when business owners are trying to grow their business or do something new, it's very easy to get lost in the world of marketing, print, digital, social media. What should I be doing? SEO and websites. Whereas if you can meet people, people buy from people. If you can get to know people, actually know them as well as their business, you're more likely to use them in the future when you need them, or recommend them to somebody else you know. So a small network of business owners becomes a big network of business owners.
It's that know, like and trust element, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you're looking for someone to help you with your business, whether it's a website designer, that's really important they understand who you are, not just what you do, or you've got someone coming to your house or your office, you want to trust them. You want to know that they're going to do a good job. And if you've met them in advance or they're giving you a personal recommendation, it's going to go a long, long way.
It can be quite lonely, can't it? If you are an independent trader, a sole trader, and you've got, I don't know, maybe you're baking cakes and selling them at a local farmer's market, or selling them to a local bakery or a pub or a club or something like that. You can be really lonely. You need to have other friends that can help you out in different circumstances.
Absolutely. And that's why RHNetworking is different, because we're very social. We say we're about business to business, but our events are more like a social group getting together. We just all happen to be business owners. So there's a bit of business talk, but there's just a general nice environment. No 60-second pitches. Just get together, have a drink, listen to others, and maybe we'll pass some business back and forth in the future.
And that's the main thing, isn't it? You want it to be friendly, you want it to be sociable. You don't want people to feel intimidated when they go along to these kind of events and have to kind of dress up smart. You just want to have a chat with someone that you could think about in the future. I may be able to help them, they may be able to help me.
Absolutely. A nice social environment in a nice venue somewhere in the RH postcode area. Different ones each month, so we do move it around. But it is all about just coming along, meeting other business owners. You won't get around the whole room in an evening, but you might speak to 4 or 5 people 1 week and go, actually, I could do with your services in the future. I'm going to take your business card. I'm going to come back next month and we're going to have a further chat. Or more importantly, I'm going to arrange a one-to-one with that person, have a coffee with them next week and actually find out a little bit more about what they do and how we might be able to collaborate on a project together rather than just using their services.
Okay, and rather than just finding someone on the web that you don't necessarily trust, you don't know who they are or what they do.
It's so easy now to create a website or create a social media page. You can do it in a matter of minutes. So to actually find somebody that is genuinely local, someone that you can have a conversation with, go out and have a cup of coffee with, and then go, actually, I do want to use their services. You can then buy into who they are rather than a very vague website or social media post.
We'll come to the contacts and the web details and the emails in a few moments' time. First of all, this is such an area, isn't it, for business in the RH area? I mean, specifically the Planet Reigate area, RH123. We're doing pretty well here, aren't we, in the best bit of Britain?
Absolutely. There's so many great businesses that are hidden away as well. We've got the high streets, we've got the town centres and the parades of shops and the business units. But there's so many people that are working from home or co-working spaces that are often hidden from Google Maps or hard to find. So bringing them together, giving them a platform where they can showcase what they do, talk about what they do is great. We don't have to go that far to find the businesses that we need to help ourselves with our business or whatever we need at home.
And it makes sense, doesn't it, to kind of keep it in the family, as it were, to keep things local. That, yeah, you may find a good deal with someone up in Newcastle, and I'm sure there are fantastic entrepreneurs up in the north, but actually to work with someone and to keep that business, to keep that money local, makes sense.
It certainly does. And it also means if you meet someone local and they do a great job, you can pass more work on to other local people for them as well, which they're going to be grateful for. And then the next time you do something from them, they're going to be jumping to come and help you because you've helped them. It's a pat my back, I'll pat yours. We'll all work together for the great good of the local area and the local community.
And the independents are obviously really important. Your big chains, your big online stores are also fantastic. They have their place. But it's better to buy from someone you can shake hands with.
Absolutely, and I think with the local businesses that have shops, business units that you can go into, that's really important. When you're buying something of large value, yes, you might be able to have it delivered from somewhere around the country or even abroad. But if something goes wrong, can you get it sorted? Whereas if you can walk into a local store or go to a local business unit and actually see that person, then you can actually get the problem solved so much quicker and easier for everybody. And if they're a good local business, if you've done your research in advance or had a good recommendation, you probably won't have that problem. But it's nice to know that if you do, you haven't got to phone up somewhere around the country that actually do they care about who you are and where you are.
You must have had some terrific success stories where you've put person A in touch with person Z and they've done a really good deal and they've achieved business which is bigger than the sum of their parts.
Absolutely. One of our members, she's a PR consultant and she's worked with national newspapers and local radio stations and she's fantastic at getting us, other members, in local newspapers, on the local radio station, talking about our businesses. She has great success with it and it's been hugely beneficial for our members. We all rave about it and think it's fantastic.
She needs to get some of those people on the Planet Reigate podcast. I don't know about those local radio stations you might be talking of. Dan, how do people get in touch with you if they're interested in RHNetworking?
Well, they can find us on Instagram and Facebook, RHNetworking, nice and easy there. And of course, we do have a website, rhnetworking.co.uk. We welcome anybody to come to our events as a guest, so reach out, get in contact, and we'll get you set up.
And we always love to support local businesses, as you know, so if you would like your business to be featured, not as a straightforward plug, you've got to have a story to tell as well, and also would like to learn a little bit more about you and how you came to be and serve and work in the local community, get in touch with me and we'll sort something out.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
And you may remember last week or the week before last, there was an RHNetworking speed networking event, which was fantastic. Dan had asked me to host that, so it was great to be down there. And if I met up with you, hello again. If you're a member of RHNetworking, it was a fantastic night. There was a real great buzz of contacts and possibly contracts that had been kind of sorted out, or at least the first few steps of those. I think lots of coffee meetings are going to be happening over the next few weeks to get to know each other a little bit more and maybe suggest some partnerships and ways of working together. And if not, well, it was a damn fine evening anyway. In sport, congratulations for local schools. A milestone for Reigate Priory Park Run. A local cricket club is after more players. And if you fancy playing a variety of sports, we have details. Yeah, because that's really interesting, because very often you don't necessarily want to commit to playing football every week or playing bowls or croquet or some every single week. You just want to try out a variety of sports every couple of 3 weeks, don't you? Yeah, that's a good idea? Okay, there is a group that does that locally, and I'm going to be passing on the information a little bit later on the Planet Reigate podcast. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart, a Podcast Pete, as someone called me earlier on in the week, which I thought was a rather fine name. I don't know, can you have a nickname and call yourself by that nickname? I don't do any harm for the hairy cornflake, did it? There's a joke for the kids. A new flood alleviation scheme is coming to the area. Yeah, it's the Reigate Flood Alleviation Scheme. It's going to provide property resilience measures against floods for 84 properties, in fact, that have historically flooded or are at high risk from future flooding. So that's things like flood doors, removable flood barriers, non-return valves and air brick covers. It's all to reduce the impact of flooding and protect the local communities. 175 high-risk small field properties will also have property flood resilience measures provided along with a flood storage area that will reduce high water levels through the village. An old care home in Reigate could be turned into a school. It's the plan by the County Council for the building on Park Hall Road. It's off Brokes Road. It'll be run by Reigate Valley College, and it will be an alternative provision education centre for 72 pupils aged 5 to 16. Alternative provision, yeah, that's the name given to youngsters with exclusion or mental or physical health difficulties. The Park Hall care home site was actually home to 50 adults back in the day. It's been closed since summer 2017, and the new building would replace the one that's there at the moment. Be slightly larger, not much. Locals are worried about increased traffic in that area, particularly on the cul-de-sac as well. There was talk about having another opening onto the road which goes up Reigate Hill, but the County Council have said that's not actually necessary. So I don't know what your thoughts about that. They're also going to be putting more yellow lines in the area. So if you use that kind of Brokes Road area, Park Hall Road area to park your car, maybe when you take a train from Reigate Station up to town or wherever, you may come across some yellow lines there in the not too distant future. Anyway, there's a consultation all the way through till April the 20th, so a couple of 3 weeks. So if you're interested in more in that, then you can go to reigate.uk website, because they've got more details and more links there. The pizza chain Papa John's has announced it's planning to close the Redhill store and 42 others across the UK. That they say it's underperforming. They launched a review of all of their stores at the start of the year. Papa John's International announced the stores will close by mid-May. Obviously, our sympathies go to all of those who will lose their jobs. There's a deadline for registering to vote. It's the 16th of April, so that's going to be soon upon us, isn't it, after the Easter break? That's to vote in the local elections and for the Police and Crime Commissioner. So if you haven't had your card through the door yet, you may just want to check with whichever council you're listening to me from. Was that grammatical? And check in with them to make sure that you are on the list. Because we don't just cover Reigate and Banstead Borough Council, because some of our area is Mole Valley, when you're talking about Betchworth and Brockham, for example, and also Bletchingley, sometimes mention Bletchingley stories as well, and obviously that is Tandridge. If we go further afield, then you know what happens. You get attacked by dragons. Look, I spent ages putting that sound effect together. You're going to hear it. All right? Okay. Here's some more stories in our news sequence this week. Well, after more than a year, there's a cafe in the Pavilion building at Priory Park. It's being run by Creamy and Bites. It's got a similar name, hasn't it, to the dessert and ice cream shop that's going to be opening in Redhill in the not-too-distant future. They're called Creams, I believe, but this is Creamy and Bites. Different company. This one's a family firm. It's been behind the temporary kiosk in the park since late May last year, while the main building was being refurbed. So if you cast your mind back, October 2021, Pistachios, who used to be in the Pavilion building in Priory Park, their lease expired, but they stayed on for obvious reasons because of the date. Then November 2022, the council started a retendering process. February last year, Pistachios left and the cafe closed. And then last summer, the building work on the actual building continued. They put solar panels in and they refurbed the toilets and so on, haven't they? And now Creamy and Bites are in. They will be open Monday to Saturday, 8 till 5, Sunday, 10 till 4. And the official opening, although they may be trading over the Easter bank holiday weekend, because I spoke to Kate, who's behind it all, earlier on in the week, and she said, well, we're going to try desperately to get in there for Easter, but if not, our official opening, that she said, is Tuesday the 2nd. And Creamy and Bites website says, we take pride in offering you a delightful experience in the most picturesque parks of the local Surrey area. Of course, yeah, Priory Park. Discover our exceptional catering services in the beautiful parks of Surrey. Unwind unwind and treat yourself to delicious food and beverages as you immerse yourself in nature. Experience the perfect blend of culinary delights and outdoor relaxation. Join us for an unforgettable park experience filled with exquisite tastes and memorable moments. We wish them well from us here at the Planet Reigate podcast. Still waiting for confirmation about what's happening with the kiosk and the building there at Memorial Park, Redhill. As soon as we know, of course, we'll bring that to you on the Planet Reigate podcast. Another eatery is opening. In fact, it has opened. You know where Island House used to be? On Reigate High Street. That's now opened as a Turkish restaurant called Yaprak. Yeah, fond memories of Island House myself, for various reasons we won't go into now. But I might tell you one day about a funny experience I had in the Island House. Shall I tell you? Shall I tell you this week? I'm going to leave it. Still a little bit too recent to maybe mention that at the moment, but it's a nice story. It's a nice story. And before that, it was called Ask Italian as well. And in its place, quote, grilled meats, fish and vegetarian dishes that are served all day with famous Turkish hospitality. Opening times Monday to Thursday, noon to 11 p.m, Friday to Saturday, noon to midnight, Sunday, noon to 10 p.m. And Yaprak has another branch in Burgess Hill. Burgess Hill? Did I say Burgess Hill? You know what happens if you drive too close to Burgess Hill, you've got to watch out. Dark. Exciting times for shoppers at the Belfry. Yeah, this month at the Belfry, they've welcomed 2 new stores and a kiosk into the centre with another one on the way. Toy Barnhouse has gone into a large store on the lower level. Ariana Build a Toy is a new local independent offering teddy bear making and so on. You'll find them on the upper level of the Belfry. We've mentioned both of those in recent weeks. There's going to be a new cafe in the centre in the next couple of weeks. Belfry Beans is going to be replacing Movie Mug. So tell you more about that when that opens. And also they've got a new fruit and vegetable kiosk called Tutti Frutti down. It's near the main entrance there. It's just there, kind of tucked underneath the escalator area. So if you fancy some fruit and veg at very reasonable prices, I'm sure. The Belfry, Tutti Frutti, just inside the main front doors there. Now, what do you know about the North Downs Way and the Gatton Park area of that? Well, yeah, the North Downs Way, it's a national trail. It's 153 miles of spectacular scenery, picturesque villages and glorious countryside. Particularly, I think you'll find the best bits are in the Planet Reigate area. Yeah, the section between Dorking and Merstham winds its way from the top of Reigate Hill, down past the Millennium Stones and onwards through the Royal Alexandra and Albert School and Gatton Park, and obviously to help walkers on their way through the school grounds while keeping to the footpath, 2 new information boards have been put up either end, giving clear directions and information about the school and about Gatton Park as well. The project's been funded by the school and the Gatton Trust, as well as the North Downs Way National Trail and the Surrey Hills Society. Blooming Earlswood have announced their plans for 2024, so be aware of these. Dates for your diary. You may want to get involved with these, either as a spectator to go along and watch, or maybe as a participant. Anyway, 27th of April, they're going to be running a mini garden competition for kids for the 2nd Reigate Scout group. That's where it's all going to be happening. Earlswood Carnival, powered by Eco Earlswood. Make a garden on a plate or a tray out of Lego, Play-Doh, plants, fairies, dragons. Don't tempt me. And bring it along to the carnival because Blooming Earlswood and Renee there is going to be judging that particular competition with someone called Peter Stewart from the Planet Reigate podcast. Okay, that'll be me then. It's all right, I was asked. And I'm really pleased to do that. Not a problem at all. Looking forward to that. All entrants will get some sunflower seeds and there'll be prizes for the top 3 as well. And in August, they're going to be taking nominations for Earlswood's Best Front Gardens. Now, last year, they found just over 100. This year, their target is 150. And last year, we were just launching, weren't we, in September with the Planet Reigate podcast. So we're going to be involved early doors this year with Earlswood's Best Front Garden Awards. September, they're going to be looking for the tallest sunflower in Earlswood, and they're also on the lookout for any individuals or businesses that would like to sponsor or support awards and certificate. That's all being organised by Renee at thegirlwhogardens.co.uk. Salfords and Sidlow Parish Council say, as part of our 50th birthday celebrations, we're going to be holding a scarecrow competition for our younger residents. We'll be judging the entries at our community days at Salford's Social Club, Saturday the 29th of June, and Sidlow, Sunday the 30th of June. There'll be prizes for the winners. If you reckon that you can turn your hand to creating a scary scarecrow, then please get in touch with Salfords and Sidlow Parish Council. You'll find them on Facebook. Hello, says this message. I grew up in America, and in the late 1980s our school was partnered with Raycommon in a letter writing project. So I had a pen friend. This from Heather Bataisky. So, you probably don't know Heather Bataisky, but do you know someone called Deborah Collier? Deborah Collier went to Ray Common School in the 1980s. Are you Deborah? Do you know Deborah? Maybe she's your sister or a friend. Maybe she lived down the road from you. Maybe she's a friend of yours on Facebook. Perhaps you worked with her recently. Maybe it's a friend of a friend who went to Ray Common School in the 1980s. Yeah, because Heather is trying to trace her. As I say, she's in America. She had a pen friend, Deborah, at Ray Common. And Heather says, I recall she lived with her parents and sisters on Windmill Way in Reigate. We wrote for a while across the pond, even sent cassettes of our favourite music, but eventually drifted apart as school and activities took over. I kept her letters all these years, but thought as we're older, she might like to have them back, to see what life was like in 87 to 89, and what our younger selves found important enough to write about. If anyone can point me to her, I'd be really appreciative. Isn't that a lovely idea? So if you know Deborah Collier, Heather from America would like to get in touch with her, return her letters. So between both of you, you can kind of potentially have a little chat, little reminiscence, maybe have a laugh, maybe have a grimace at some of the bands that you liked, some of the boys you fancied, some of the things that you got up to in your spare time, perhaps your hobbies, your interests and things like that, what you got up to in school as well, at Ray Common School back in 87 to 89. If you want some more details on that, if you reckon you can help, get in touch with me and I'll pass on all the details to you. And how do you get in touch with me?
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
And before we go, at the end of the show, natural sounds from a place you know, from Betchworth this week. And also, we've got another fantastic bargain from Julie at the Children's Trust in Tadworth. And they've got a shop in Bell Street in Reigate, of course. And what they do is they scour all of their shops across Surrey, Sussex and Kent and bring the very best items to Reigate so they can mention them on the Planet Reigate podcast. And we've got details this week of a pair of cowboy boots for you. But first of all, let's take a look at the week's sport. And Denotta under-15 boys are winners of a football competition. It's the ISFA football competition, so congratulations to them. They are winners of the under-15s National Shield in a thrilling match, apparently. Quote, Denotta demonstrated tenacity and resilience to win 3-2 in a dramatic second-half comeback. The boys levelled the score from 0-2, securing victory with a goal in the last minute of an excellent game. Congratulations to them. It's an incredible achievement at Denotta. Congratulations indeed from them to Carrington School in Redhill. Congratulations to them for their sevens for winning the District Shield Netball Tournament. Congratulations indeed. They triumphed over 10 other teams, showing extraordinary resilience and energy, working as a team to bring it home. Milestone last week for Reigate Priory Park Run. It was 10 years old. Yeah, Saturday. Nikki Clark at Riddlesdown got the first 1,000 Park Run t-shirt. The first person to volunteer 1,000 times. A fantastic achievement. Congratulations to Nikki and everyone behind the Reigate Priory Park Run. South Nutfield Cricket Club are looking for players to join their new under-9s team. So boys in year 3 or 4, girls in years 3, 4 and 5. They've also got teams at under 11, 13, 15 and 17. For more information, you can visit their website, southnutfieldcricket.club. Josie Copeman says, do you want to have fun playing a variety of sports on a Tuesday evening? We've got some spaces available because we're moving outside for the summer term. We're a group of ladies who play all sorts of sports purely for fun. So some of the sports they play: rounders, stool ball, football, basketball, Danish rounders, bench ball, frisbee and netball based games. If you fancy it, go along on Tuesday the 23rd of April for a trial free session to see if you enjoy it. 7:30. You've got to be 18 years old. But where, Peter? St Bede's School, Carlton Road in Redhill. You'll find them on the Astro, which is behind the netball courts. Parking available. Quote, we are known as the best laughter club in Redhill. Come and join the fun. I like that idea, Josie. A variety of sports, because as I said earlier, you don't necessarily want to commit yourself to playing netball every single week. And also we've got a few different things in there. Danish rounders. I'm not entirely sure what Danish rounders is and why that differs from the rounders that we used to play at school ourselves. Do you play rounders, then you have a pastry afterwards? That would be nice, wouldn't it? Loveworks are delighted to be holding an annual charity golf day at the gorgeous Betchworth Park Golf Club on Thursday the 6th of June. Advance notice for your diary now. The day starts at noon with bacon rolls, followed by 18 holes of golf and a 2-course dinner. The golf format is teams of 4 playing Stableford rules. All proceeds will be going to help local people suffering from food poverty. For more details, loveworks.org.uk.
Planet Reigate is the castle at Betchworth and the castle in Reigate. And this is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And I'm Peter Stewart, and on the way,
Still to come on the Planet Reigate podcast.
Alix set up include.org, and she'll be joining us to explain why and how it's developed over the years to provide community projects and training and consultancy, combining music, creativity and fun to teach people better ways of including and involving people with understanding or speaking difficulties. Yeah, you will have seen Include, I'm sure, at various events across the Planet Reigate area over the years. Wouldn't it be really interesting to learn a little bit more about what they do? That's what we thought. So Alix is on a little bit later on in the show. And various holiday events for children on the way, including a Disney mashup, a theatre school, Nerf gun sessions. So maybe you've got a kid or two who want to... rumbustuous, I think, was the word that I came across this week. Someone said, my kids are rumbustuous. I thought that's a terrific word. I'm going to see if I can slip that in to what I'm talking about this week on the Planet Reigate podcast. And now I have, twice, I think. Sports, crafts and games, holiday football camp, aerial arts workshops, aqua sports and immersers. Learning how to play squash, a photography adventure, all sorts of things going on across the area. So give you a detailed look at all of those in the not too distant future on the Planet Reigate podcast. Now, if you'd like to support us and the work we do here, then please do. We'd really love to hear from you, and you can support us in a number of ways. For example, you can buy me a coffee by going to buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast. So essentially what that is, it's a kind of virtual tip jar. You may have heard other podcasts talk of Patreon. So essentially, if you do it on your phone, and your phone is all set up with Apple Pay or other payment facilities and so on, if you use your phone to pay for things, then you can easily go on there and just send me a few quid for, essentially to say thank you very much, I enjoy the show.
Support us at buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast.
And I'd be immensely grateful. Obviously, there's no pressure in doing that, but I did speak to somebody this week that said, I thought this was your actual job. So no, it's an addition to the day job. It's a kind of a hobby. I love doing it, but if you love listening to it, then you may want to bung me a couple of quid, and I'll be really, really grateful.
Planet Reigate stars thanking local heroes who are out of this world.
Because we love celebrating where we live and the fantastic people who live here. The Redhill Hub has been collecting donations for families and individuals in need this Easter, so as well as the staples, the bread and things like that, Easter eggs, hot cross buns and Easter cakes have been donated too. They say all your donations, big or small, add up and make our hubs possible. And thank you to everyone who's donated so far for your kindness and generosity. It's really appreciated. So maybe you volunteer there, or maybe you've contributed. You're all Planet Reigate stars this week. And congratulations to the 72 walkers and 61 runners who completed the full or half marathon YMCA Y2Y North Downs Challenge last Sunday. In total, they raised over £6,000 to prevent youth homelessness in the area. Thanks also to the Challenge Events team and the volunteers for making the event such a great success. You are all Planet Reigate stars. And also, I caught up with Danny this week, and you'll hear more from Danny in a few weeks' time because I was doing an interview with her. And Danny said, "Peter, can I please do something for your Planet Reigate Stars feature?" I said, "Yes, of course, what's the story?" And this is what Danny told me.
So on Mother's Day, a couple of weeks ago, I went out with my two boys, they're 5 and 7, and we went out to Zeno's in Horley, and we had such a wonderful meal. And I like to chat to everybody, and so I made friends with the table next door, and it was this lovely gentleman. He must have been in his 60s, and I think he was with his wife and maybe his mum out for Mother's Day. So we sat down, I said hi, and the gentleman said, "Oh boys, are you taking your mum out for Mother's Day today?" We all had a joke about how I was going to take it out of their pocket money and that kind of thing. And so, as I said, we had this most wonderful meal. The staff were really incredible. And then at the end of the meal, I asked for the bill, and the lady came over and she said, "Oh, the bill's been taken care of." And I said, what do you mean? No, I need to pay for the meal. And she said, "No, the gentleman that was next to you, he actually, he paid the bill for you." It's not very often that I'm lost for words, but I was totally lost for words. And this gentleman who was at the table, he'd already left, and so he'd paid for my meal, and he wasn't there for me to be able to say thank you to him. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to my generous benefactor who totally made my day. I'll be honest, I started sobbing at the table because I just thought it was the most wonderful, generous, incredible act of kindness that I have seen for a very long time. So whoever you are, mystery man, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it means to me, and I will promise to pay it forwards.
Wasn't that great? I love that story, and I love that Danny so desperately wanted to tell me and to thank that mystery man. It was great meeting up with Danny. It was even better to hear that story that came from. If you are that mystery man, thank you so much. You made Danny's day. And for that, we award you a Planet Reigate Star Award. This is Peter Stewart, Podcast Pete. If you have ever thought about a podcast for your charity or cause or business or interest, then why don't you get in touch? You know, podcasts don't have to be public. You can have them secure. You can have them kind of private, maybe behind a paywall, so only your staff or subscribers can hear. It could be an alternative maybe to a staff newsletter, you know, so colleagues hear managers or co-workers being interviewed, perhaps rather than reading their words instead. Or maybe you'd like me to present something. It could be an awards night that I could be host of. I could be at your school or at your college judging something. I could host a round table or a Q&A. Get in touch with me. Whatever you would like me to do for you. Yeah, all right, yeah, within reason. Here's how to do just that.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
All sorts of things going on across the next week. Let's open up the second edition of the Good Time Guide of the Planet Reigate podcast.
The Good Time Guide things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
So earlier on we heard things to do and places to go for this coming weekend, and now let's launch into a whole load of things to do over Monday through to Friday, and include next Saturday as well. So Monday the 1st of April, there's an Easter egg hunt at Gatton Park. It's on Good Friday, if you're hearing me on Good Friday, and also Easter Monday as well. Complete the fun trail, solve the clues to earn your Easter treat. Topical craft activities and refreshments available to buy as well. 10:30 to 4. Online booking, £6 for adults on the day, £8 or £3. It's all subject to availability, of course. On Bank Holiday Monday, Bumblebee Bob and Mrs. Bumblebee Bobette, I don't know, are doing a sponsored walk from Reigate to Merstham via Reigate and Redhill town centres, onto the watercolour and then onto Merstham Football Club. Now it's just over 10 miles and that's going to be a mission dressed up as bumblebees. Hope it doesn't rain as it is as I'm recording this. Fair play to them all and also everyone else that's involved with that. If you can spare a couple of quid, they say, it'd be really appreciated. We're raising £1,100 to raise money for a new permanent home for the Merstham Boot Library, which we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Now, the Merstham Boot Library is where, if your boots are too small for you or your child, so you need to go and buy some more, yeah, then what do you do with the old ones? They're not that old, they're perfectly good nick, they need a bit of a spruce up, but somebody else the next size down from you may actually want those. So the idea is that you contribute those boots or shin pads or goalies gloves or whatever it happens to be, that kind of kit, and then someone else can take those and then they can donate the ones that they've grown out of. And so it goes on. Great idea. So if you see the bumblebees across the area on Bank Holiday Monday, maybe put a few pennies in their pot so they can afford a new building to store all of that kit. Wendy says she's running a decoupage workshop over the Easter break in Reigate. I didn't know what decoupage was, okay, but she's going to teach you the art of it. And it involves large jars which you'll take home with you on the night, and you'll also make one other mystery Easter themed piece. So if you fancy a calm, relaxing evening making pretty things, then go along to the workshop. There'll be nibbles and soft drinks as well. So if you're interested in that, £35 a person, 7:30 till 10 o'clock, Monday the 1st, and also in April the 3rd, 9th, 11th, 12th and 13th. You'll be painting, gluing, designing and varnishing, no artistic ability needed, and as I say, you'll create something that you can take home on the night. If you want some more information on that, then you need to check out the Facebook page, which is going to be a little bit difficult to find, but if you want some more information on that, get in touch with me and I'll pass the details on to you.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
Tuesday the 2nd of April, Camp Glide Easter Holiday Clubs. They're happening at Ray Common School in Reigate, also West Vale Park School in Horley. You can get some more information and book via campglide.co.uk. A couple of weeks of fun. There's going to be a Disney mashup. Yeah, you'll allow your children to become their favourite character. A week-long performing arts holiday club where your children can learn how to sing, dance and act, build confidence, make new friends, have lots of fun. Mornings filled with performing arts, afternoons filled with messy activities, things like slime and Easter egg hunts and chocolate crispies, and a live show as well. You can either book for a full week or 3 days, and bookwen.com/step-in-time theatre school if you want some more details on that. So that's the way to go. Step-in-time theatre school at outlook.com is another way to get in touch with them, and that's happening at Lime Tree Primary School. Easter Holiday Club at St John's Nursery for children's age 2 to 5, 2nd, 3rd and 4th of April, 8th, 9th and 10th, mornings 9 to 12, afternoons 12 till 3, £30 a session at Redstone Lodge on Philanthropic Road. If you want some more information on that, 01737 768 415. There's another Easter holiday club, 2nd of April through to the 12th at Reigate Parish Primary School. You can go along and join in there. They've got Nerf gun sessions, guys. 07733 740 242, 07733 740 242, or info.holiday@theholidayclubs.com. YMCA East Surrey's outstanding holiday club in Redhill is going to be open again for ages 4 to 12 years old. Crafts, games, sports, outdoor play area, fantastic sports hall, children's activity rooms as well. A team of highly trained, experienced and friendly staff, all DBS checked. Tuesday the 2nd to Friday the 6th. Monday the 8th to Friday the 12th. It's all happening at the YMCA Princes Road in Redhill, and they're able to offer financial support to go along if you're struggling financially. Now, they also run a holiday club at St Joseph's Catholic Primary School, and also Earlswood Junior School, that's a football holiday camp, and also a gymnastics holiday activity day at the YMCA Sovereign Centre in Reigate through East Surrey, acrobatics as well. More information, ymcaeastsurrey.org.uk. Also, let's move on and tell you about Easter football camps at Carrington School. £30 a day, or £70 or £100 for the full week. 50% sibling discount as well. You can go to mvcoaching.co.uk. An aerial arts workshop happening the 2nd to the 12th. Redhill. 1 day, 2 days and 3 days of fun, unique and challenging aerial arts, crafts, acro dance and more for children aged just 5 upwards. You'll spend most of the day in the air, feet off the ground, spinning around. Lots of fun, meet new friends, learn some new skills. Sapphire Studio in Redhill, sapphireschoolofdance.com. There's a half day of aqua sports at Mercer's Lake, 9 till 1. This sounds interesting, doesn't it? You can introduce your child to the wonderful world of water sports, led by a highly experienced team of friendly instructors. Jam-packed morning of on-the-water activities, ages 8 plus, the thrill of windsurfing and the skill of sailing as well in dinghies. aquasports.co.uk for more on that one. Reigate Squash Club say, are you looking for something a little bit different? Look no further. We've got junior squash coaching camps with Danny Lee Squash on the 2nd, 4th, the 9th and the 11th of April. Suitable for beginners to intermediates, improvers and advanced juniors as well. Places are limited, so get in touch now and you can sign up via 07905 102 094 07905 102 094 if you're interested in that. Emotional well-being sessions open to everyone between the ages of 11 and 18, a safe, fun environment where you can meet new people and understand what it's like to go through difficult times. It's all being run by the YMCA, and a programme of different activities. They'll be going to Collie Hill for some photography adventures. There's going to be a bake-off challenge. There's going to be a visit to the Gatwick escape rooms as well, and also make your own terrarium. Those are kind of those indoor gardens in a glass jar, aren't they? If you want some more information, waves at ymcaeastsurrey.org.uk. On Thursday, there's a monthly walk that starts in Brockham. Starts at 10:30 at Dorking Rugby Club car park, Brockham Big Field, RH3. The walk about 60 to 90 minutes long, led by John Hartley. Contact him if you want some more information. John R.L. Hartley 309 at gmail.com. Adam's Gallery on the High Street in Reigate says, don't be late for a very important date. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Sir John Tenniel. As a display on from April the 4th to May the 26th. The original wood engravings from two of the greatest books in children's literature, and a chance to own a piece of literary history. Yeah, to register for early bird previews, catalogue and information, you can email the gallery info@adamsgallery.co.uk. A new letter writing group has been running for a few weeks. The idea is to make time for you to write letters, maybe to a friend or a family member, but also an opportunity to write a letter for the charity From Me to You, who distribute letters to cancer patients, either at home or in hospital. If that interests you, you can whip out your Basildon Bond and your fountain pen and pop along to the Posadero Lounge in Redhill, 10:30 to 12 noon, and you can treat yourself to a tea or coffee there, maybe a cake as well. Now, actually, when I say you can take out your Basildon Bond and your fountain pen, actually, cards, postcards, writing paper, pens, all supplied free of charge. Want some more information? Kath with a C _WH. Kath _WH at hotmail.co.uk. Catherine is a friend of the show. Catherine, thanks for all the support you give us here at the Planet Reigate podcast. The first Salford Stroll will be on Friday the 5th of April. Starts at 10 a.m, 9:45 to meet up from Salford's Village Hall. Please wear appropriate footwear and clothing for the weather. And there'll be a coffee get-together when you finish your walk. If you're thinking of going along, Caroline would like to know on 07511 433 127 or Claire on 07711 250 906. And I would say, if you're going along to any of these events, when you rock up and people say, "How did you know?" please tell them you heard about it on the Planet Reigate podcast. Also, there's going to be a quiz night on Friday the 5th. It's happening at the Yard at Reigate Station. 3 hours it's going to be going on for. A general knowledge quiz in various subject rounds for teams of up to 6. Live music as well. £7.50. Bring your own bottle. Check in by 7:10, please. And if you want some more information on that, well, get in contact with me or just rock up at the Yard at Reigate Station. That's Holmesdale Road, isn't it? Just there off the, yeah, you know where it is, 3A Holmesdale Road. Or if you want some more information on that, drop me a line.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
And we always take a sneak peek ahead to Saturday the 6th as well, the next Saturday I should say, so you can get your ducks in a row for the following weekend. There's a spring market at Horley Leisure Centre. Local businesses are going to have various goods on display between 10:30 and 3. Horley Crafts at gll.org if you want some more information on that. Betchworth has a forest school programme starting on April the 6th and then every first Saturday of the month through till July, 2 till 4, all sorts of things going on there in local wonderful woodland. All sessions will be run by a qualified teacher and a forest school leader, open to children from Betchworth and the surrounding area, children aged between 5 and 10, £15 a session. For more information, a couple of places, re-betchworth.org or Claire on 07799 305 378. The Reigate Repair Cafe is open again from 11 o'clock at the Yard, as previously mentioned, on Saturday the 6th of April at 11 o'clock. And unleash some creativity with free Easter craft activities for the kids run by local creative experts Art K. They're based in Reigate and they provide children with art classes in drawing, painting and 3D modelling, weekly art classes and holiday workshops, and they're going to be rocking up at the Belfry on Saturday week the 6th of April to provide, as I say, free Easter craft activities. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are all sorts of events in our Good Time Guide from the Planet Reigate podcast.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com. Find out more at theplanetreigatepodcast.com. Leave a text or voice message on WhatsApp 07917 874 572 and leave a review on your favourite podcast app. Support us at buymeacoffee.com/The Planet Reigate Podcast. This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
You've probably seen and enjoyed the Include Choir at various events around the borough. Well, there's more to the group than just singing. Alix set up include.org, and she joins us now to explain why and how it's developed over the years to provide community projects, training and consultancy, combining music, creativity and fun to teach people better ways of including and involving people with understanding or speaking difficulties. Alix Lure, my guest on the Planet Reigate podcast.
So the Include Choir is a choir for people with and without learning disabilities, autism, other cognitive communication needs. But when we say with and without, we mean we include family members, support workers, but also members of the community who are interested in getting involved in something joyful and uplifting and a way of learning inclusive communication techniques which help to include anybody in the community.
That's fascinating. I've got several questions just from that first answer. So that must mean it's a fantastic answer. So how did you set it up? Why did you set it up in the first place? What's the story behind that?
I am a speech and language therapist by profession, and I was also a safeguarding adults lead for the NHS in the last part of my NHS career. And I suppose the reason that I went into speech and language therapy was my experience within my family. So my dad had a brain tumour when I was 25, and he gradually lost his speech. And the following year my grandfather had a stroke, and he had Wernicke's aphasia, which meant that although he spoke very fluently, he didn't understand or process language, which was deeply frustrating for him. So I had a kind of introduction of both sides of communication need, both the expressive need, which I think we understand reasonably well, but also the receptive need, the difficulty understanding the spoken word. I trained as a speech and language therapist subsequently, and most of my career I spent working either with people with learning disabilities or autism or dementia. So problems understanding that speech or social interactions. And I found when I was a safeguarding adults lead, very few people really made any reasonable adjustments, made any attempt to really properly include people with those communication difficulties, which had been my experience with my family as well. And I got really frustrated by it, and I felt that even working within the NHS, I wasn't making enough of a difference, and I didn't feel that enough people knew about these disabilities. And so, I had my first son, and while I was on maternity leave, I thought, well, what can I do? Well, music was my first degree. Well, maybe I can put music and communication together. And so the Include Choir was set up while I was on maternity leave, and then I decided I was going to leave the NHS and do this full time. And then from the choir grew the rest of the charity, and here we are.
Wow. I find all the communication, talking, speech and so on fascinating, because my whole career has been in radio.
Yeah.
So talking obviously is that communication. You've got nothing else. You've got to paint pictures with words.
Yes.
It's about the sound of your voice,
Yes.
and it's about the tone and the pitch and the rate and the pauses and everything that goes with it and so on. And also whether someone has a, inverted commas, nice voice, whatever that is. but also what I'm intrigued to know, and perhaps what a lot of people don't realise, is about the Include Choir. It's not people who are born with communication difficulties. It's people who may develop them due to an accident or due to an illness later on in life.
It can be, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we primarily work with people who have developmental and global delay, so most of the people we're working with here tonight will be people who do have a lifelong condition. But the difficulties that they experience are really similar to the difficulties that I saw with my dad, with my grandpa, as a safeguarding lead, with all the people in the hospital who were extraordinarily vulnerable because of their communication difficulty, either because they were struggling to understand or struggling to express themselves.
Yeah, it works both ways, doesn't it? Absolutely.
It really does, absolutely. And the vulnerabilities are so huge.
And also because the world moves so fast nowadays, you don't have the time to, even if somebody has a stutter or a stammer, to give them time to just let them get out what they want to say.
Absolutely.
Let alone someone that can't communicate at all.
Absolutely true. And time is the most valuable tool that we have when working with people with communication needs. And in terms of reasonable adjustment, which is sort of NHS speak for, making those changes, time is essential. And because we're so pressured, we disadvantage people without even realising we're doing it because we're rushing through all the time. And so with Include, we focus very much on inclusive communication, which means not just using speech and words, but looking at objects and how we communicate through objects and through visuals and through Makaton signs and gestures, because sometimes getting the message across is much quicker and much more effective when we're using those as well as speech than when we rely on speech alone.
And in fact, I spotted something on your website about it's not just talking, it's writing, signing and smiling. I loved that.
Absolutely. I think for me, when I was, trying to communicate with my dad and trying to get through to him, I mean, music was one thing actually that remained a constant for us in our relationship. So I could sit and play the piano to him and get through to him when he couldn't get the words out, which really relieved the frustration. But apart from that, it was just the body language and the other stuff that we could do. It's so important.
Music
really important.
is fascinating, isn't it? And the singing that goes with it. My mum had dementia and in the care home, and she gradually lost her power of speech, obviously. But there was someone there who barely spoke at all, but put her in front of a piano, and she used to be a piano teacher, and she would play the piano. And people who couldn't hold a conversation but would remember the words of old songs, and not just the words but the rhythm and the tone, and they would sing along. There's something there, isn't there? Well, I'm not quite sure science has quite understood what is going on there.
No, I don't think we have got there yet. I think emotion it carries a huge weight. There's a lot of people who lose their speech but still swear quite fluently. And there was
one or two of them in the care home as well.
Exactly. But that phonological retrieval, that ability to retrieve that word can often be triggered because there's a massive emotional response going on. Yeah. And I think music as well, it communicates on a much deeper level than words alone. My dad, who actually wasn't much of a singer despite being Welsh, he was still singing Those Boots Are Made for Walking for some reason, and Kinky Boots. For some reason those stayed when everything else disappeared. For us, I think with the Include Choir, we're not necessarily the most musical bunch always, but the words joy and uplift get used so often with that. There's something about the fact that people can connect. And there's some fascinating research about the fact that you can build connection and community faster through group singing than any other activity, because you end up breathing together and you're singing together, you're creating something together. So there's something very, very powerful and special about group singing. I should say it's not the only thing that we do, and we're really keen to make people know that we're about training, but we train by stealth in the Include Choir.
It's like hiding vegetables in a kid's meal, isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah. We're doing loads of Makaton training. We're letting support workers know what accessible information looks like. We're using visuals up there. But we don't preach about it, we just use it so that people can learn through doing.
And as also said on your website, music, games, cake and laughs. And what a good philosophy for life.
Absolutely.
If people want some more information, if they want to come along, if they're intrigued, they maybe want to volunteer, they maybe want to come along and take part, how do they get in touch?
info@include.org is our email, but if you go onto the website, there's a form as well that you can click on. So www.include.org. Basically put include.org in and you'll find us. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always also really, really keen to boost our membership within the Include Choir, because it's a great way to learn something new and have fun. And since the pandemic, we've had far fewer community members, which then affects the inclusivity of what we're able to provide for our members who do have disabilities. So if someone just wants to have a fun evening, really recommend coming along and joining us, and guaranteed you will smile at least 3 times during the evening and probably go home with a smile on your face as well.
Talking to Alix at an evening that they held for include.org, and I also caught up with Beth, who was there as well.
I like Makaton at school, and I just think that it helps a lot of people, and you can be yourself here. Sometimes help with the tech. I just do some graphic designing as well.
So what do you get out of it when you finish of an evening and you go home?
In general, I always get more confident. Before I've ever discovered Include, I didn't have any confidence at all with anything. I never have. So that's definitely one. And it just makes me feel better when I help other people. Even if it's something little, I just like helping others.
Can you give me an example of how your confidence has grown? What did you have trouble with maybe a few months ago, but now you think, okay, I can do this now?
Well, pretty much everything, to be honest. Making friends and performing, like when we went to the Belfry, for example, I was standing by the front, and all my life I've hidden at the back if I've ever even got to the point of getting on stage or somewhere. So, yeah, it's improved with a lot of stuff. I feel like no one's judged here. It's good for everybody, whether you've got additional needs or not. You can all just be yourself, I feel like.
telling you a little bit more about a group that maybe you've seen around the Planet Reigate area but didn't know too much about. It's our job here at the Planet Reigate podcast to do just that and to explain and to illuminate some of the fantastic work that is happening across our area of Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham, RH1, 2 and 3. It is the Planet Reigate area.
Still to come on the Planet Reigate podcast.
OK, we've got the local weather and travel news as well. We've got hidden treasure on the way this week from Julie at the Children's Trust, Bell Street in Reigate. Get your Stetson ready because we've got a bit of a cowboy theme this week. And our 60-second soundscape from Betchworth. It's before we go at the end of the show on the Planet Reigate podcast, uniquely and exclusively for Reigate and Redhill and Merstham and Buckland and Betchworth and Brockham as well. I'm Peter Stewart.
Next week on the Planet Reigate podcast.
Just why has a gravestone in Betchworth churchyard got 2 names on it for just one person? Karen is the village archivist and has been researching that and other stories for a recent exhibition, and she's taken me on a tour of St Michael's to tell me what she's discovered. And the story of the celebrity attacked on Reigate Hill. It happened back in the 90s. You may remember it. Or maybe the story is new to you. It's an extraordinary story that hit the national headlines at the time, and I'll be telling you more about it in next week's episode of the Planet Reigate podcast. Well, the next full closure of the section of the M25 in Surrey is going to be taking place sometime after April. Just give you an update on that because, of course, it was closed, wasn't it, for the entire weekend a couple of weekends back. I'll be sure to let you know when we know here at the Planet Reigate podcast. Other road closures or things that might affect your journey across the area. Earlsbrook Road is closed through until December the 5th. And roadworks start on Cockshot Hill, Prices Lane, Dover's Green Road and Woodhatch Road sometime this coming week. And there's going to be all sorts of disruption through until October. Other works on the same date, Smokes Road and Glover's Road and West Street opposite Woolfield Park as well. Hidden treasure on the way, this week's top bargain from Julie at the Children's Trust, Bell Street in Reigate. And also our weather, travel and weather together on the Planet Reigate podcast. Details just coming through to us here at Studio Complex 1A. Okay, here we go. Here's the outlook then. Cloudy to start on Saturday, but cloud should gradually clear for most of us. And turning brighter as well as the day progresses. Should be generally dry day on Saturday. Some cloud, occasional shower on Easter Sunday. Breezy, mild weekend. Unsettled conditions are expected on Bank Holiday Monday. Yeah, Bank Holiday Monday we've got some showers and they'll merge into longer spells of persistent rain a little bit later on. This is the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart.
Hidden treasure on the Planet Reigate podcast.
And from Julie Beams at the Children's Trust, Bell Street in Reigate, what they do is they collate some of the very best items from across Surrey, Sussex and Kent, bring them to Reigate and the store there at Bell Street, and then tell us about them on the Planet Reigate podcast.
One thing I've never owned is a pair of cowboy boots. This week we've got a pair of size 10 black matte stroke nubuck leather finish boots. So they have been pre-loved, so there's a few sort of marks and scuffs on them, but very, very wearable. They have leather soles, they have the sloping heel, which is very stereotypical. They are the pointed toe style and what's classed as a high heel. I wouldn't say it's particularly high, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches at best. And apparently this pointed toe style is to aid the foot fitting into the stirrup while on horseback riding. And the high heel is designed to fit snugly into the stirrup, so preventing them from slipping out. So obviously very practical. Now this pair of boots have sort of the pulls to help you get those boots on and off. And the right hand one, the inner little pull has gone AWOL. So this is a very unique pair. It's the only pair of size 10s that we have, and it only has 3 pulls. The style of these is classed as square toe, and they're really comfortable, and I think probably take a little bit of getting used to if you haven't worn them before, just in terms of like your foot's a bit longer than it normally looks. So these are just £15. I'm sure somebody will get an awful lot more wear out of these. And the fact that they are as worn condition means that, you know, you haven't got to keep them for best. Get out there, get these boots. They're made for walking.
Love it. And of course, by buying those boots or indeed anything else at the Children's Trust shop, Bell Street in Reigate, you'll be supporting children with brain injury who are helped up at Tadworth Court, just over the motorway in the borough of Reigate and Banstead. Cowboy boots. Cowboy boots. I feel some line dancing coming on.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
Thank you for the loan of your ears, episode 29.
Next week on the Planet Reigate podcast,
We hear the fascinating story of some of those buried in Betchworth. Karen is the local archivist and is our guide with a couple of fascinating stories. And also I'll be telling you why a celebrity and Reigate Hill hit the national headlines this week in 1991. I do hope you can join me. Don't forget to spread the word. Tell your friends, your family, your neighbours, your co-workers as well. You can follow us on all of the social media. We're on Insta and Facebook and Twitter X as well. And also, if you'd like to say thank you for what we do here at the Planet Reigate podcast, go to buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast. And if you see us on social media, liking is great, but sharing is even better. Yes, share our posts to your particular platform, and we'd love you for that as well.
the 60-second soundscape. Local natural sounds, uninterrupted.
Yeah, before we go, at the end of the show, natural sounds from a place you know. And this week, St Michael's in Betchworth, with the birds and the bells.